Hello, hello, yet again. This is Dawn Del Vecchio with part 3 of our conversation about shadow work. And I was called to do this because I realized in the previous 2 videos, I maybe didn't dial in something that's important to point out here. Because I was doing sort of the overarching concepts of shadow work and how people either deal with their own shadow or don't deal with it. I didn't dial in with detail the process of clearing shadow material or owning it or perceiving it even. And this video is not designed to actually guide you through any specific process, but again, just to sort of dial in or refine. So as we said in the first video, the shadow is anything that's hidden or buried from the conscious mind. It's subconscious material. Sometimes that material is from your own childhood, your own traumas, your own, doesn't even have to be childhood, experiences. It could also be skills and abilities, belief systems, assumptions, things that your conscious mind does not perceive from somewhere in your lifetime this time. Sometimes that shadow material is inherited from your family. And sometimes it's lineage stuff. Sometimes it's trauma related just planetarily or culturally. So there are many ways that we can have shadow material. And sometimes it's good stuff. Sometimes it's our strengths and abilities, our dreams and wishes that we long since buried because we didn't believe it was possible to actualize those things. Whatever it is, to allow yourself to experience a deeper, broader, higher experience of life, what you want to do is liberate yourself from shadow material that weighs you down. Now, I sort of do this mannerism when I talk about digging in and clearing out, digging in deeper and clearing out. And I realized after I did that could be perceived as a kind of clear out to reject the shadow. And that's actually not what I mean. So that's why I say I'm refining or dialing this in more specifically now. When we bring light, when we shed light on things that have been buried in the shadows, it gives us the opportunity to see them, to witness them, not to reject them. The very fact that they're in the shadow means they're rejected parts of us. It's the function or the purpose or the result, the opportunity, once we perceive the shadow, is to integrate. It's to integrate, to bring in those parts of us that have been denied, rejected, buried, or hidden. And so I feel that this is a really important piece of the message. So I do hope that anyone who watches either the first 2, potentially, that you see this part 2 or as well. Because it is when we integrate the parts of us that we had rejected, consciously or unconsciously, in the past, that we become truly free. So in other words, they're not buried material that's controlling us like a puppeteer from the shadows. We become free because we recognize, oh, that's me, the addict. Oh, that's me, the inconsiderate, rude know-it-all. Oh, that's me, the runaway bride. Oh, that's me, whatever it is. When we bring these things to the light, we can work with them in order to cultivate consciously what we really want for ourselves, how we want to show up for others, how we want to be in relationship, all of that. So when I say clearing out the shadow, I don't mean pulling out some buried thing and then sending it away in rejection. I mean transmuting it into an ally within our psyches. And so that's why those of you, my clients who work with me or the sisters who gather in circle with me have often heard me say this phrase, alchemical transmutation. And what I mean by that is that when we access shadow material and face it honestly with loving compassion for ourselves and everyone involved, we begin to transmute the undermining aspects of that, the negativity or the way in which we felt limited by those pieces, we transmute them into allies. And it's a sort of alchemical process. It's literally turning ourselves from base metal into gold. So the gold of our soul, the gold of even our spirit, our divinity, coming into this form in order to live out our lives more actualized. And we do that when we transmute alchemically the shadow material, not through rejection, but through integration. Okay, so what else do I want to share with you about that? When we do this, we allow ourselves to live with more spiritual liberation. We also clear the lineage. So it's like the buck stops here. Like, okay, for generations, I may have inherited certain kinds of negative patterns in the family line. The buck stops here. I transmute so that the next generations moving forward do not have to do that, deal with that. And planetarily, this is especially important. This is why I say it's the indigo warriors who are particularly designed to do this work. Not because it's what we all have to do forever and ever and a day, but because the rainbow children and the crystal children and the star children who will one day be adults to build a new earth, they're going to be pretty busy. They don't need to be clearing out lots of crappy baggage and reintegrating lots of shadow material. Some, maybe, probably. It is this time period, the indigos. This is what we came here to do. We raised our hand and said, yes, I am a warrior spirit of light, and I will come to do that difficult stuff. I will incarnate into very low vibrational family lineages sometimes in order to one day have the tools and abilities to have the wake-up call to begin to look into the shadow, find the tools I need, and alchemically transmute that into light for the liberation of myself, my lineage, and the entire planet and the future. So, what else? A few inspired phrases. I just did some Google searching to find some memes, and so I want to share these with you. They're just they all sort of point to and tie into these concepts, just to wrap this up. So here's the first one. Let it hurt, let it bleed, let it heal, and let it go. And so by let it go, this is, not rejection, but letting go of the wounding that was operating in the shadows so that it no longer has power over us. So let it hurt, let it bleed, let it heal. So we allow, we witness, we bring it up for healing and clearing first in order to heal, in order to be liberated from any subconscious control that wounding has over us. So that's one. Let's look at another one. She travels between the worlds, unlearning thousands of years of conditioning. From my dear friends at Divine Feminine Reawakening. So it's unlearning, and I would argue as someone who does shadow work with people and assists them, the unlearning is actually the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. So that the operating system no longer operates from that place of buried material, shadow, and wounding. And then let's look at this one. Every woman who heals herself helps heal all the women who came before her and all those who come after her. And that's from Christiane Northrup. And I would argue that this is not just true for women, this is true for men as well. Every person who helps to heal themselves, who heals himself, helps to heal their lineage and all of humanity at some point in the future. The more of us do this work, the more healing energy is available to all. And finally, to wrap this up, darling, just effing own it. When we own it, when we say, yes, that is my shadow material, yes, I witness that I can't stand when people are self-righteous, and look at how many times I've showed up self-righteously in my communities, for example. when you own it, it no longer has power over you. It's no longer in the shadow. And with that, I'll just bring this over here to see this beautiful dancing goddess to say many blessings to you. Until next time.